Let's focus on the end of the 2015 season. Sal, welcome back and happy holidays to you. It's our final Sal Pal Friday of the year.
Oh, great show, and thanks for having me on.
Well, it's always a pleasure, my man. And obviously, hey, a couple of weeks ago, we didn't think we'd be talking about a potential playoff football here. This thing looked like it was getting off the rails and out of control, and we'd be talking about, whose job's on the line. But how did they pull it together the last couple of weeks?
It's a mystery. It really is. It's something that I asked a lot of the players about when I was down there on Wednesday and Thursday, yesterday and the day before. And they point to things like, playing with energy, playing with confidence. I think that is partially true. I think when they played the Bucks and the Lions, there was a lethargy about them that was, not going to go away anytime soon. It was the one thing that changed everything. And I would have to say, I think it was Malcolm Jenkins basically calling the team out. That's what I would think it is.
Yeah, he kind of questioned the fact of the matter, Sal, that there was people not being held accountable. Has that changed? Have the coaching staff changed the way that they've done those type of things?
I don't think so, no. I haven't heard of anything like that, no.
Well, let's look at this week's game and see how important it is, because Arizona obviously is one of the elite teams in the league. I don't know that people, pay attention to them a whole heck of a lot because they're out west, but at 11-2, some people, Sal, think this might be the best team in the NFL. Do you concur with that?
No, I don't. I think they are definitely in the top 6, top 7, but they're not in the top 3. I think their general weakness is you can blitz Carson Palmer. You can collapse the pocket on him. He's a bit of a statue back there. I think you can do that. Minnesota did it. Certainly Pittsburgh did it earlier in the year. They are averaging the second most points per game in the league, points scored, 31.2. But in the last 3 games, it's only been 23 points per game. And if you look specifically at, and I'm going to bring these two games up, Minnesota, 10 days ago, came in and nearly beat them in Arizona. And then when they made their trip to Pittsburgh held them to 13 points, and Pittsburgh won that game at Heinz Field. And I can guarantee you that Billy Davis has been preaching and practicing and pounding into the player's head what happened in that Pittsburgh and that Minnesota game, because Carson Palmer in both cases was under duress.
Yeah, and obviously this is a team, Sal, that likes the X-plays. They like to throw the ball down the field. Carson Palmer has avoided mistakes. He's been prone to them in the past, but he's avoided them this year, and he's been very good, this team as a whole, throwing the ball down the field.
But you can get to him if he holds the ball. That's my point.
Yeah, absolutely. And though the Eagles have, last couple of years, their big problem in the secondary has been the X-plays, and that's something they seem like they've cleaned up this year.
Well, it haunted them last time they played the Cardinals. That John Brown deep post pattern. Yep.
Bringing back memories of that.
But, those players are no longer here, and it's a lesson, hopefully, that the coaching staff learned.
Yeah, and if you look at the Eagles' defense, they've been pretty poor against the run the last 4 weeks, but that's something that the Cardinals, they've had some running back issues as well.
Yeah, they have. I think the Cardinals will come into this game knowing that the Eagles' run defense is one of the best in the NFL, and God help us if Fletcher Cox doesn't make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Guy's been totally lights out. One of the best players in the league, 13 and a half tackles behind the line of scrimmage for a loss. So that's, I think, fourth among all defensive linemen. So, the Eagles can defend the run. And I am sure that they want to get up on the Eagles early. Why? Because, the Eagles have not scored a whole lot of points in the last couple of games. When I picked the Eagles last week, and I think the Eagles can upset the Cardinals. I really do. I think this is a game that's winnable. I'm not one of those people that says the Cardinals have all of these matchups that go in their favor. They do. The Cardinals are a team that has played well on the road. They've scored the most points on the road of any team in the NFL this year, 222. They're a good road team, but playing at night this time of year on the East Coast on a Sunday night when you're sitting around the hotel all weekend in Philadelphia, is not conducive for a lot of energy, enthusiasm when you come out on the field.
Well, that's a good point. And look, the Eagles have, not that Arizona doesn't have anything to play for, but they've clinched a playoff berth. They can win the division with a win, but the Eagles have a lot to play for at this stage of the year and really hold their own destiny.
Well, actually, that's another thing that goes in the Cardinals' favor, because the Cardinals can clinch division and playoff spot.
Yep.
If division and first round bye, rather.
Right.
If they win, the Eagles can lose the game and still sweep Washington and New York and win the division.
Yeah, and a lot of that, Sal, I want to get your thoughts on Bradford. Obviously, he spoke a lot this week about his future and everything that's wrapped up there, but has he started to sell people? I mean, is he kind of the stabilizer of this team the last couple of weeks?
Well, I got to see a lot more, Mike. I really do. He's last in the league of all 33 qualifying quarterbacks in yards per attempt on third down.
Wow.
Last in the league, 4.48 yards per throw on third down, 33rd out of 33. They're 29th in the league in yards per play. This is an anemic offense, and it's mostly due to the fact that they don't have speed and that the quarterback doesn't challenge anybody downfield. So I got to see much more from Bradford.
Yeah, and it should be interesting. I mean, there's only 3 games left for him. I don't know how much more he can really prove. I mean, it seems like the resume is built here for him, but they've kind of dug themselves into a hole here. They don't have a lot of options.
No, they don't. And I was at the press conference where Bradford refused to endorse the idea that he would want to be back's team.
Which is, which is his right.
I was surprised by his answers. I really was.
Yeah, and I guess he wants to try to focus on this week's game, and that's admirable for him. But
you can still say, hey, I want to be back here.
Exactly. Right. Well, I tell you, Chip Kelly, the last couple of weeks, has he done stuff as a head coach to impress you, Sal, to kind of say, you know what, there were some some questions about him, but you got to give him credit for X, Y, Z?
A little bit. But when you look at, this team, instead of signing DeMarco Murray, could have had Mike Iapati, the lineman that the Cardinals brought in. Instead of drafting Marcus Smith, they could have drafted Deion Buchanan, who the Cardinals drafted after the Eagles drafted Marcus Smith.
Yeah.
You can go down the list. Instead of having Josh Huff, they could have had John Brown. Eagles draft Huff, and 5 picks later, the Cardinals pick John Brown. So these are all glaring comparisons with the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, Sal, you said earlier that you like the Eagles this week, and what is it? What is there a particular matchup that you think that the Eagles can exploit to make you feel that way?
Well, what's the number one thing the Cardinals do?
Throw the ball down the field.
The number one thing the Cardinals do is they blitz the quarterback.
That too.
The number one blitzing team in the league. You can't blitz the Eagles. Nobody blitzes the Eagles. The Eagles are the least blitzed team in the NFL. Why? Because the Eagles run a red-hot offense, machine gun style, up-tempo offense. It's hard to change the calls. It's hard to change the personnel on defense, get your defense set, make the calls at the line of scrimmage, and blitz and have the blitz be effective if you're running that fast and the ball's out of the quarterback's hands quickly. So the Cardinals have not played that kind of offense. It mitigates or neutralizes what the Cardinals do best, namely blitz the quarterback. And I think that will frustrate the Cardinals' defense. I really do.
That's a good point.
Offensively, I think the Eagles can get to Carson Palmer. Again, in the last 3 games, Mike, the Cardinals are averaging 23 points a game, not their normal 31, 32, 33 points a game. Their offense has ground to a halt, primarily because they can't run it, and you can get to Carson Palmer lately. So I think those are 2 areas where the Eagles excel and keep this game within reason.
Sal Paolantonio, everybody. It's a Sal Pal Friday. The Eagles and the Cardinals. You can listen to the game Sunday night right here on 97.3 ESPN. And then, of course, the two NFC East games. I won't be here the next couple of weeks. We won't talk, Sal. But obviously, those this is the way they wrote it up for the division games to matter. And the Eagles have a chance to make that happen. And they already lost to Washington once. You got to feel good about a split there. And then they've played very well up in New York.
Yeah, I tell you what, the Redskins beating Chicago really hurt the Eagles.
Yeah.
It really did, Mike. Because Redskins are going to beat the Bills because LaShawn McCoy and all his antics, that's drained the Bills dry. And Bills don't have much to play for. And I am picking the Giants to beat the Panthers.
Giants over Panthers. I'm writing that down right here. Sal Pal 312. All right. Well, I tell you what, that would be very Giant-esque, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the Giants have defeated 3 undefeated teams. Super Bowl 42, the undefeated Patriots, most famous.
Yeah.
1998, I was there. Denver Broncos came into the Meadowlands, 13-0. Giants beat them. 1934, I wasn't there. Chicago Bears came in undefeated to Yankee Stadium to play in the NFL championship game, and the Giants beat them. The Giants have beaten 3 major undefeated teams.
Good stuff. Well, Sal, obviously the end of the line for us. It's been a pleasure to have you on all season long. It should be fun. I'm actually, for the first time in a long time, I'm off the rest of the year. I'm going as a fan. Sunday night I'll be in the building, just hanging out, watching some good old-fashioned American football.
Love it. I'll tell you what, have a Merry Christmas, and if the Birds get in the playoffs, I'll talk to you in January. If not, we'll talk soon.
You got it. Sal Paolantonio, everybody. Thanks to him. Sal Pal Friday here